You've been saving up for months for a nice romantic vacation for you and your girlfriend, and when you ask her where she'd like to go, she tells you about this great, quiet little monastery in the Romanian hills. Thinking that a bit of history will go well with a nice break from the hustle and bustle of modern life, you immediately catch a flight, eager to spend a blissful week relaxing in the rustic Romanian countryside. Yet when you arrive at your destination, you can't shake a malevolent feeling permeating the walls of the centuries-old former monastery. Later that night, as you get up to go use the bathroom, you catch sight of a strange figure. You swear you just spotted a nun walk across the hall. Shrugging it off, you reach the bathroom and close the door behind you. Then as you peer into the mirror, you're horrified to see the lights dim and a 7-foot-tall figure loom over you from behind, dressed in the garb of a Catholic nun. As its long, bony fingers drape across your shoulders, you realize that you should have gone to Hawaii like everyone else does, because now you're in a one-on-one deathmatch versus one of the most powerful demons in history. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Infographics show's You Versus series. Today we're pitting you, the average Joe, up against VALAK, the evil nun from hell. Let's go to Romania, your girlfriend said. It'll be rustic, full of history, and super romantic, she said. We won't be taken or hostiled and tortured by rich Eastern European millionaires for fun, she promised. And you believed her. Good job. As you rush back to your room, terrified of the demon at your heels, you're ready to both tell her off and try to get her to safety, when you see her floating 3 feet over your bed, her eyes rolled up in the back of her head. Fantastic. Now she's possessed and a thrall in the service of VALAK. Well, at least that takes care of the breaking up part. But now it's time to focus on survival and just what exactly you're up against. VALAK, also known as the Great President of Hell, is a greater demon who holds over 30 legions of lesser demons under his command. He was summoned to Earth centuries ago by a crazed duke who attempted to summon and control a demonic force from deep within the catacombs that the monastery you're staying at was built over. Oh sorry, did the travel agency not mention that your romantic historical monastery was built over a dark pit that summons demons from hell? I'm sure it was just an oversight. But with VALAK's powers to possess multiple people at once, odds are that the travel agents were under his control the whole time. That's why you really gotta read the Yelp reviews. While the Duke successfully summoned VALAK forth from hell, he would go on to be killed by an elite anti-demon task force from the Vatican. The Vatican priests sealed the demonic rift using a sprinkling of the blood of Christ, one of the Vatican's most powerful and sacred relics. Hundreds of years later, though, during World War II, the monastery was bombed and the rift was broken open, allowing VALAK to enter our world once more. Occupied by a devout order of nuns, VALAK assumed the form of a nun in order to mock their faith, and because nuns' uniforms are absolutely terrifying. Over the years, VALAK haunted the monastery as the devout nuns attempted to pray away the evil spirit, though to no avail. By 1952, he had killed several of the nuns, leaving only 2 survivors. Personally, we would have left long before the first demonic murder, but maybe the nuns just didn't have a working car. After a feature-length film amount of time, VALAK is once again resealed with more blood of Christ, though is later released by a devout Satanist. VALAK, President of Hell, #NotOurHellPresident, is now coming for your soul. Just how are you going to defeat this terrifying force of evil? As usual, to fight your enemy, you must know your enemy, particularly its strengths and weaknesses. VALAK is a demon, yet unlike a normal demon, is extraordinarily resistant to the spiritual and holy objects that normally spell doom for a trespassing devil. It's not that holy objects won't work. The blood of Christ is, after all, especially effective. It's just that VALAK is very resistant to their effects, and until the breach between our world and hell is sealed, it's doubtful that VALAK can ever truly be vanquished. As a demon of manipulation, VALAK is keen to prey on people's fears, something that, with its terrifying 7-foot-tall body and creepy nun garments, is admittedly not very hard to do. Its aim is, as many demons, is to spread fear in its wake in order to weaken the mental resolve of its victims, so that it can best influence them. That's because, like most demons, VALAK prefers to have people hurt themselves or others rather than do it itself, as the act of sinning by committing suicide or murder is seen as preventing God's plans for us, and that's pretty much all any demon lives for. In order to break down his victims' mental defenses, VALAK is fond of creating terrifying illusions of the environment or even itself, showing people the gruesome deaths of their loved ones, or even projecting sounds and images directly into people's minds. Notably, VALAK is also powerful enough to block psychic powers such as clairvoyance, making VALAK quite the formidable foe indeed. As far as weaknesses go though, as we mentioned, VALAK is vulnerable to all the typical demon-killing tools in the Infographics arsenal. This includes holy water, though as a reminder, only if it's blessed by true faith. Holy relics such as items that once belonged to Christ or other famous saints, true faith, and of course, love. That's right, a demon can't operate in a location where true love exists, as God is love and demons, being the antithesis of what God is, cannot exist alongside love. If VALAK takes solid form though, it, as any other demon, become vulnerable to the same laws of physics that govern our daily lives, which is why demons typically don't take on their real forms in our world, preferring to project themselves spiritually. So just how in the world are you going to take on and defeat one of the most powerful demons in existence? First, you're going to ignore the fact that your girlfriend is hovering 3 feet above the bed. Sorry, but it's just too late for her. She's already been possessed by VALAK, and the best thing to do is just shove her levitating body out the window and let it float away. The last thing you need right now is having to watch your back against a murderous demon-possessed girlfriend while you're trying to fight VALAK at the same time. Also, as a master manipulator, you don't want to give VALAK the opportunity to use your girlfriend to manipulate you emotionally. It's time to show VALAK that you've got an iron will and can't be made into a puppet. Shove her right out that window and send VALAK's carefully laid plans straight to hell. Plus, it's kinda her fault for suggesting this trip in the first place. You wanted to go to Hawaii. Now it's time to turn the tables on VALAK. He's been using fear against you this whole time, and even tried to create despair inside you by possessing your girlfriend. If VALAK wants an emotional one-on-one deathmatch, you're gonna give him one. VALAK may have all the dark powers of hell and legions of demons at his disposal, but you have a puppy. That's right, you have a puppy. A big, goofy, adorable golden retriever puppy with giant, oversized paws that don't match his tiny body. We know what you're thinking. Seriously, Infographics, I'm fighting for my soul against a president of hell and you're giving me a puppy? But hear us out. Ask yourself one thing. Have you ever felt scared around a puppy? Have you ever felt anything but warm, gushing feelings of adorableness when having your face licked by a happy, fluffy pupster? Of course you haven't. Remember how we told you that VALAK's demonic goals are to terrify you, break your will, and then either possess you or get you to kill yourself or others? Well, he's gonna have a hell of a time, pun intended, making you scared of anything when you're getting covered in big, giant, sloppy kisses from Mr. Floofkins. That's his name, by the way. How couldn't it be? Look at how fluffy and adorable he is. But wait, because we're not done. In your arsenal against the forces of hell, we're also going to arm you with a baby sloth. Look at its dopey, weird face. They hug you by instinct when you pick them up, because that's what they do with their mothers. And check out that face. It always looks like it's got a cute, lazy smile. Now that's super kawaii, overflowing with adorable cuteness. VALAK is going to run screaming for the hills from you, literally unable to bear being around you and all your disgusting positivity for even 1 second. And that's perfect, because the next thing you're gonna do is take some C4 and destroy the demonic rift in the basement, just like should have been done the first time. With the rift linking VALAK to our world gone, he's gonna be dragged back to hell where he'll stay forever, or at least until someone's dumb enough to try and summon him back to Earth. So maybe 5 minutes tops? Now you should probably go outside and check on your girlfriend. You did shove her out a second-story window, but hey, if she didn't make it, at least you got an adorable, fluffy, kissy-face puppy and a happy little hug-giving baby sloth instead. Seems like a fair trade.